Oh hey, it's Wes, and today we're having a look at the new Godox MoveLink M2 that gives you two transmitters and a receiver, also known as a stereo pair. But why? Why do we have a number 2 already? It just seems like, I don't know, not that long ago that I already reviewed the original version of the M2. Well, let's get into it and see what's changed and what hasn't. Starting with the build quality. Right here we are looking at the receiver that is currently receiving. This is my transmitter here, so we are live, and then I just have a little cable that's going right up to my camera right here. I don't have the original MoveLink in my hands right now. I lent it to a friend of mine, and well, they're in another city right now. But I had a lot of experience with it. I used it for a lot of stuff, not just the review, I also used it for a lot of commercial work. Because within a reasonable distance, I found it to be perfectly reliable, and I loved the small form factor. There are a lot of other form factors to choose from, but this one is somewhat common. There's also the box case with a battery inside, like you see on the 7Rems iRay, DW30, as well as the Hollyland Lark 150. But after the MoveLink came out, Smallrig came out with their Smallrig, the Forevala. So this is beginning to become a bit of a familiar case design. This has not changed. The case, however, got a tiny bit lighter if you check out the specs. And if we take a closer look at the specs, we can see that the devices themselves are unchanged, their batteries are unchanged. What has changed is some of the internals, and so that's not going to appear in our build quality. There is no claim of weather sealing. This is an all-plastic unit with a plasticky screen, which does have a little bit of squish to it, so this will scratch, but in videos and promos, people always have this like on the outside on their belt where it would scratch against something, but in reality, you're going to put this in your pocket or something, so there's not a huge chance of scratching. This is a very innocuous design, and actually it's a little bit darker and more matte than the original MoveLink, which is nice. And honestly, one of my favorite parts of this design is the windscreen that it comes with. We'll compare here. On the Smallrig, you have to get this little like rotation lock thing going in here, and it's kind of finicky. When it works, and when it doesn't, it falls off. However, on the Godox, you have this very solid latch-on windscreen. So if I put this on here, it locks on. You can see there is nowhere for the air to go around this. Might be a little bit on the back, but the back is the part that's usually against your body. But this is not coming off easily. People have complained to me that it's hard to get the windscreen off of these. I say, sure, great. I would much rather it be hard for the windscreen to come off than for this thing to be flaky and to break. It's not flaky, it's not breaking. Thank you. I'm on a bit of a tear on that because I had some issues with windscreens on other ones not that long ago. Everyone else, please fix yours. I don't want a cute setup, I want it to stay on. So overall, nothing revolutionary here, nothing surprising, no like industrial grade components here. It's a 7.5 out of 10. Moving on to the feature set, and the features on the surface appear to be largely unchanged, but what has changed is we have double the reliable range up to 100 meters, and we have an increased battery life up from 4 to 6 hours up to about 8 hours. Honestly, I kind of believe them. I have not charged these yet. I've used these for several videos. The transmitter here is still showing full bars. Let's try the other transmitter. We'll turn that on for a second. This one is showing full bars as well. And the receiver is showing down 1 bar. Gotta hand it to them. That is some incredible battery life. On the surface, what appears to be upgraded audio processing, 48 kilohertz, 16-bit sampling. But honestly, at the quality that you receive on these and like the lav mics that they come with, and this is the lav mic that it came with, that's all, you know, a little bit pie in the sky, a little higher than it needs to be anyway. And it also includes the feature of the magnetic clips. Let me get out their magnets here. They show these in promo videos. So you're supposed to put one of these metal plates behind your shirt and the other one to clip onto this. But if you move around at all, this just falls right off. It's silly. Unless they're gonna put some massive magnets in this, it's just another tick box for the feature set. which I'm not going to tick. But what we're missing here is a case that has an internal battery like this one. We also don't have the convenient knobs that the Smallrig and the Lark 150 have. And we also don't have internal storage, internal recording. You might want to say that you'd pay extra for, but you get that with the 7 rims. Solid features, but they're not trying to cram everything in the world into this. So I'm going to give that a 7 out of 10. Sound quality. Well, I'll let you say for yourself. We're talking into the default mic, no processing, no compression, no EQing or anything. It's very smooth, very level. I find that it peaks a little bit, and if you look at the specs actually, this has 10 dB less dynamic range than the original, which is kind of surprising. So there's a little trade-off there, because I found the original was a little less easy to peak. A little mid-heavy, but it's kind of the audio signature that's great for live streaming and very easy to edit if you want to get something out of it. If there's excessive sibilance or bass, that would be harder to deal with in a pinch, but this is very easy and straightforward. And now we're testing the quality of the mic through a high-quality audio interface, not just a camera. That is the SSL2. And now let's try it with the noise reduction turned on. And now we're testing the quality of the mic with the noise reduction turned on through a high quality interface. Most of the noise that you heard previously is just the house, which is a surprising amount of noise when you really focus in on it. And here it is with the noise reduction turned off again. And now we are recording with the Smallrig Forevala, which is also clipped to the exact same place on my shirt as the Godox was. There is no option for noise reduction on this microphone, but there is a optional low cut mode. Now we're in the low cut mode. This is the low cut mode on the Smallrig. And now the low cut mode is off. Very similar to the voice, because the low cut is quite low. And here we are recording with the high quality studio condenser mic through the SSL2 audio interface, just for reference for how that sounds. So overall, I am quite happy with the sound quality. I'm going to give that an 8.5 out of 10. Usability, and the most important factor for me with usability, is the reception and the range. Let's go outside and do our range test against our current range champ for 2.4 gigahertz, the Smallrig Forevala. Here we are outside for the range test. My cell phone is down here in my back pocket. We have in one corner the Smallrig, which was our range champion for 2.4 gigahertz to date. And here we have the new Godox system. And let's take a quick look over here, just to make sure everything is even Steven. We have each one mounted on a separate camera so that they can behave in their own way. And we're at a normal talking distance. This is the 35mm lens. So let's back up to a more normal shooting from a distance. And we'll keep this going. Okay. Now we are many feet away. What's this, 20 feet now? This is a normal distance, say, to maybe film a wedding from. So I'm going to take a turn here. And then I'm going to walk over here behind this little piece of the house to see how our penetration is over here. And I'm going to take a turn all the way around to see how that goes. And here we are out here. The gain on both the Smallrig and the Godox are set the same both in camera and on the transmitters. Walking away here. Very cold this morning. I believe it's minus 10 Celsius. With a very humid and piercing wind. Oh, the snow is covered in ice, so some of my steps are staying on top and some are going through. Oh, boy. Okay, about 50 meters away now. I'm going to turn around and face the camera. How are we doing at about 50 meters away? Well, next we venture into the woods, very thin woods. Not much actual coverage that will block our radio signals, but it's the distance that counts. Both of these are rated for 100-meter range. And the Godox is supposed to have greatly improved range over its predecessor. Honestly, I didn't have much of an issue with the range of the predecessor, so I'm not sure what the problem there was. But, I mean, if you're going to venture into the woods when your camera's still in the driveway, then I guess we need to see how that works. Alright. And let's make sure I have line of sight to the cameras. I still do, yeah. Before I hit that 100-meter mark. There we go. I can still see the cameras pretty clearly. No thick trees between us. Facing the camera. I guess I'll take a turn. Taking a turn. There we go. And we'll make our way back. See if we got our claim to range here. Whew. Now, unless the cold is causing an issue, I can be quite sure that the Smallrig is still working right now, because I've tested it on this range many times before. Now, some say, oh, if one drops out, it could be the other one to blame. But there's very little radio interference right here. It's a very sparse neighborhood out in the open air. So if one of these transmitters and receivers can't handle the interference of one other device that's nearby, it's kind of a deal breaker. It says the range isn't great. And now one might say, well, people don't always wear two transmitters. But say at a wedding, if I get 30 feet away from the bride and the groom, or at any sort of an event, if I get 30 feet away, I am going to have 25 cell phones at least between my camera and these transmitters. So, and those cell phones are all searching for or connecting to 2.4 gigahertz networks. So it's very important to test that ability, and we'll see how that turned out when we get back inside. I feel like this one is turned up too high. Oh wait, forgot to do the car test. So let's spin ourselves around here. This tripod doesn't rotate very well when it's this cold out. Alright, going back behind the Civic. Not a big car, but it's made of metal. Facing away, rotating in the crouch position, coming back up, walking back around, clearing my throat, and we spin back. There we are. There you have it. How did that go? We'll find out when we get back into the studio. Back to you, Wes. That is interesting. Normally, there is more of a differential between the two devices. Even just like little moments in time, if you know what I mean. But these ones came out very similarly. And if we look at the audio waveforms being produced underneath, also very similar. If these weren't glued together and I could actually open them without utterly destroying them, I might have to start asking manufacturers to send me 2 sets of these so I can demolish them and cut them in half. I would say that the audio processing, the Wi-Fi, the wireless, they might be the same on the inside. Sound signatures are the same, the range appears to be the same, which is solid. This is not a knock against them at all. The Smallrig has been my favorite for quite some time now because it is so reliable with the connectivity. And this picks it up too. But it does have some negatives for usability. Some people, no internal storage or SD card or anything, it's a total deal breaker for some people. It doesn't bother me at all, but I've talked to so many people now that that is like the #1 thing on their list. That's all they want. And let's switch over to the onboard mic. There. Does that sound the same to you? I don't know. You let me know down in the comments below. Also, when you pop them into the case and they're on, it doesn't automatically go into standby mode, which kind of annoys me. It's nice to be able to just put them in there and put them away, which you can do with the Hollyland Lark. It's nice that they automatically switch into standby when you put them in the case. But it does allow you to individually control the volume of A and B channels when you are in mono mode. Now some people might say that, what's the point of that? In mono you want everything just feeding in, but say that you're in a live stream, you want to be able to have that stuff mixed both into the mono stream with different sound levels. You can't do that with the Smallrig for some reason. Now, generally speaking, at least for me, I'll be recording in stereo if I am doing a recording of 2 channels, and then I can mix them in post. That's fine. And when you're coming into the camera in stereo, you can adjust with the Smallrig or with the Godox, the separate channel volumes. So overall though, usability, I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10 because we're lacking the easy access knobs and the screen that faces the actual user. I cannot express to you how much easier that makes your life. And no internal storage. Let's move on to value. That's where Godox has traditionally done well, but lately they have been trying to move up market a little bit. So let's see if there are any surprises here. The MoveLink M2, or is it just MoveLink 2? Anyway, comes in at $200, exact same price point as the original, which is the exact same price point as the Smallrig Forevala. But the Forevala does not come with 2 lav mics, whereas in the whole host of things that this comes with, of course, you get all the connectivity cables, you get 3 USB-C cables. The Forevala comes with a triple-ended single cable, which is a little more convenient for some things, and it comes with 2 lav mics. So you are getting a little more bang for your buck there, but you can get the 7 rims, which has charging case, onboard storage. That's a lot of bang for your buck. However, it has a previous generation wireless chip that does not have nearly as good signal reception as these ones do. Then you have other ones that are more expensive, like the Saramonic Blink 500 Pro for $300. I've got that in a cabinet here somewhere. Hollyland Lark 150 for $280. Rode Wireless Go 2 for a pair of them. You're looking at over $400, also with lav mics. Doesn't come with a charging case. And the DJI mic, which is pretty popular, but people have had reception issues with them that you won't get with these for $330. So we're going to give that a 9.5 out of 10 for value. It's solid. What does that give us? It gives us a 40.5 out of 50. What we're looking at here is a super reliable mic kit that is just a little bit behind the times in feature set. So if this gets the job done for you, and this is fine for you, then hey, go for it. That's fantastic. If you want to buy any of these things, there are links down in the description below. You can help support this channel and feed my fat cats. But until next time, let's capture some audio and go take some photos.